Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about finish stones for straight razors and why they really don't matter as much as what you might think. Okay, so if you're getting into straight razors, you've probably, searched them on the internet. You looked at a whole bunch of YouTube videos. You've probably gotten on to the some of the forums, the straight razor dedicated forums. And that can be a very, very confusing place, not only for a beginner, but also for, an experienced guy. Heck, I go in there and they start rattling off different stone names, and this stone is better than that stone, and that stone is better than this stone, and I remember, there's an awful lot of confusion there, so I don't really go to those places anymore. But I remember a couple of years ago when I was on there last, there was a guy that swore that he could tell he could tell what a razor had been honed on when he shaved with it. So apparently a buddy of his sent him like 5 or 6 razors, right? And he'd honed each razor on a different stone. And he sent all these stones over to his buddy, and it didn't tell him, which razor had been with which stone. And the guy shaved with them, once a day, once a week, whatever. And I guess he was able to tell the difference in between each edge and said this stone or this razor was honed with a caudicle, this stone was or this razor was honed on an Arkansas, this one was honed whatever, right? Maybe I don't pay that much attention. Maybe the wind here in Wyoming has beat my face up to where the fact that I really can't tell. But honestly, I can't tell, right? I mean, I brought out a whole bunch of stones out here, and there's some really nice stones here. I mean, we've got some Dan's, a surgical black arc. We've got a Dan's translucent, gorgeous stones. We've got my favorite King 1000, 6000 grit stone that I also sharpen pocket knives and all that kind of stuff on. We've got the amazing, what do you call this one? The Arkansas Gray Polisher Stone from Jonathan Coe off of Facebook. Boy, let me tell you, you want to see a pretty stone, check this one out. And of course that one was the soapy water and not just the straight up water. I mean, is that just a pretty stone? I mean, pretty amazing stone, and it puts a pretty good edge on a razor, or I think razor is the only thing I've ever had that one on. That's one of the Belgian blue caudicle class stones, the Nanawa 12,000 grit, the Norton 4,000, 8,000 grit, right? And then you've got a couple of different, this is a Smith's 325 that was wore out. All I use it for is to flatten these water stones. And then that is a diamond hone block from Harbor Freight. You pick these up for like 12 bucks or so. And you use those to flatten out your stones also. And I'm telling you right now, I can't tell a difference in the edges of any of these stones, okay? What I can tell you the difference is that are like a practical type of standpoint, is that the Arkansas stones take a lot longer to put an edge on a razor than what the man-made water stones do. The Jonathan Coe, I guess this one doesn't really matter all that much because I don't believe that he's, last I heard, he wasn't doing these anymore. These are like, they've got a whole bunch of seashells embedded into them. I guess this was a beach, a million years ago, and then it got buried and compacted, and then, now he's digging them back up a million years later, and so everything's been compressed by the earth, and that's what makes it a stone. And I think he was having a pretty high reject rate on these, so I think he quit producing these. Could be wrong. He's also got a couple of other stones that are really, really cool stones. I just grabbed the pretty one because I like it. Anyway, so the arcs take a lot longer. Depends on how you have them maintained. whether you, you know, lap them to where they're freshly conditioned and they cut fairly quickly, or if you do the whole glazing thing, which honestly, to me, that's kind of like taking a piece of sandpaper and then, you know, sanding it on concrete and then trying to do a sanding job with it. I really don't get it. The man-made stones, they just cut so much faster, so much more consistently, and, you know, I mean, that's really what I'm after. I mean, I use a razor to shave my face. The hair's going to be right back the next day, so as long as I knock enough of it off to where, you know, my mask will seal when I'm grinding and to where it's not itchy, then I'm totally okay with that. Now, that's kind of going over a couple of the stones right quick, right? Now, here's what I will tell you is what a stone's job is. Okay, a stone's job, or a hone, finishing hone, whatever you want to call it, is to set the edge up for the strop. Okay, that's all it's there to do. I suppose if you were trying to shave off directly off the stone and without using a strop, you know, that I think you might notice a difference in between the stones, but it would be really tough to maintain an edge without a strop. So if you're going to have a strop anyway to maintain the edge and to clean the edge and all that kind of stuff, you might as well use it as your finisher. Before we go over the edges here, I'm going to show you my strop. There's two types of, actually, hang on just a second. There's two kind of basic forms of strops. You got this kind right here, which I bought a new one off of Amazon. I did a review on it. I think it was an Illinois something or other type of strop. And it's a very cool strop. They were fairly inexpensive off of Amazon. I think it was $30 or $40, something like that. And you did have a leather side, and you had a linen side, and you had a couple of handles or D-rings, and then you had this clamp up here, right? Cool strops, they work really good and everything, but the problem is that the components aren't replaceable very easily, okay? What I use, I use one of these, okay? Now, the fella that I got this one from is no longer doing it. It was Straight Razor Place or Straight Razor Palace, or Straight Razor Designs, okay? The beautiful thing about this strop is that the components are very easy to replace. What you've got is you've got a O-ring, a clip, you know, hook clip on a swivel, and then you've got these Chicago type screws up here. They're on the top and they're on the bottom attached to each of the handles. Okay, so the leather, I think this one is English bridle. I don't think that really makes all that much difference either. But the fact that you got a smooth side to your leather, the rough side to your leather, which I don't typically use, and then you've got the linen. This linen gets dirty. Okay, I mean the entire strop gets dirty over time. The leather, you can wipe it down, you know, with just a paper towel or something with some water and wipe it down, you know, clean it every once in a while. The linen, I've tried throwing them in the washing machine. They never come out flat. I've tried hand washing them. They never come out flat. So it's easiest just to replace these. Now, since Straight Razor Design, since last I heard, he's no longer doing that anymore. I pulled up his website, or no, not Straight Razor Design, but the guys over at Razor Emporium. Yeah, Razor Emporium. Right there. Okay. Those guys are doing the, they're making that style of strop. Okay. And they're selling the replacement linen for, I think the last time I bought some was like $5 a piece. Okay, so at $5 a piece, it really doesn't make any sense to try to wash the stuff. I mean, you just order, 5 of them extra, and then, if it gets dirty, or I hang mine on the bathroom behind the door. So like if I wash the dogs and the dogs, get up out of the bathtub and I forgot to put my strop up and they, shake and get water all over the place, if that got the strop too dirty, well then I just throw the linen away, grab a new one, bolt it on there, and away you go. The green stuff in the middle here, that is called chromium oxide. It is a stropping compound. Now that stuff, you can get it at woodworker supply places, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it, in numerous places. I think that you ought to get it from a straight razor supply house. I've tried like buffing compounds that were chromium oxide, and I got kind of mixed results. So if you get it from a straight razor supply house, typically if it's a good supply house, they will have found a good supplier of it. This can right here came from Maggard's. It says it's 0.5 micron, and it's just a paste. Okay, I think Dovo makes a couple of different types of paste. Pretty much any of those pastes that you get, it's going to say, stropping paste, and that'll work pretty good for you. Now, here is the part where it doesn't really matter all that much what stone you're using. So if you take a straight razor and you look at it from the end, okay, you will see pretty much this middle drawing here, okay? You've got the wide part, that's the spine. You've got a little bit of a flat from here to here, and then you've got the hollow grind, and then what you probably won't be able to see through this little bitty camera is the actual edge. Okay, so you've got your shoulders, you've got your hollow grind, and then this right here is going to be your edge. Now, the way you hone a straight razor is you take that whole thing and you put it on a flat stone, which is what this ruler is supposed to be, and then the shoulder of your spine here, oh look, I can see through the paper, will line up with your edge, and that maintains your geometry, right? Now, this is completely flat, theoretically of course, and it's going to come up to a perfect angle. Doc, go get another ball, dude. Yeah, go find another one. Doc gets his tennis ball stuck up underneath stuff occasionally. Anyway, so you sharpen on a flat stone, right? And that gives you perfect geometry. Now, the problem is that as even if you never nicked your edge up, okay, even if you never had a hard hair or, one that didn't get, wasn't wet enough or softened, properly to get shaved, when you get done shaving, you need to, strop your razor on the linen side. I typically palm strop a couple of times. Doc, hey. I typically palm strop a couple of times to get rid of the blood and the pus and the dirt and all the nastiness that's on the edge, because I can wash my hand a whole lot easier than I can wash that strop. Then you strop a couple of times on your linen to finish cleaning and drying off the edge, because the heat from that linen will dry the edge off. Okay. Then you go ahead and you store your razor up on a shelf outside the bathroom. Then the next time you want to use the razor, you pull it out, you give it 10, 15 licks on the leather, and then you're ready to shave. Okay, you do it all over again. Every time that edge contacts your face, contacts the palm, contacts the linen, contacts the leather, every single time, those are not true flat surfaces. Okay, so in a perfect world, so remember, this right here is your entire blade geometry, and this right here is your very edge. Okay. Now this flat right here, like I said, I drew this oversized. That is the very shiny spot at the very, very edge of the razor. So now let's blow that up and look at it on this side. So this would be a freshly honed razor that has never touched a strop, a face, the palm, anything, right? Here's the deal. You put your strop, you're never going to get that thing straight and completely flat, just like a stone. Even if you rest this on a tabletop, which I'm not going to do here because there's a whole bunch of dust and stuff on my bench top here. If you lay this on the counter in your bathroom and try stropping across it, even that leather has got enough give there that it's going to start rounding over that edge. If you strop with a taut strop, okay, right there, then that's going to give you one angle. If you put a little bit of, if you relax a little bit, it gives you another angle. If you relax a little bit more, it gives you another angle. You relax a little bit more, and it keeps, increasing your angle. So now what I got here is a belt, because it'll flex this way. Actually, let's bring you down like this. Okay, so hopefully this will all show up on that camera. It might not. Let's put you over here. Let's see if you can see what I need you to see here. No, not quite. We'll put you on the bolt. Okay, yep, you can see. Okay, so when you sharpen this edge on a stone, it's perfectly flat, right? Now, the second you start stropping that, if your strop is laying on the countertop, okay, you're probably only going to get about that much worth of rounding. Let's get you right to the edge. Okay, you're going to get just a little bit of rounding, right? Now, if you strop on a taut strop, now this is exaggerated, you're going to get something that looks about like this. Now, where'd my pencil go? Okay, so if you strop on a taut strop, you're going to get that. See how you got a curve going on there? Now, if you strop on a slack strop, you can get as much as like that. You seeing the difference there? If we go the other, and you strop on the other side, of course. Okay, a taut strop would be somewhere around in here. A loose strop would be somewhere up in here. Now, you see how this has really changed your angle? Okay. Now, this might not happen all at once. I mean, you probably won't lose, that much steel the first time you strop it. But if you're shaving once a week or twice a week, I think I usually shave about twice a week. I've got razors that haven't hit a stone in 4 years. Okay, they've just been with a strop. So now you know that edge that might have started off here is probably clear back to here by now. All right. Now at some point, the strop will, at a normal angle, or a normal taut strop, will no longer be able to get this sharp again or maintain it. Okay, so what happens then is you need to take this part right here and then cut this shoulder right here. You'll have to come back in and cut that off with a stone so that your strop can again start rounding that edge off. You following me? So that's why That's why the stone, while it is important that you have a stone and that stone can, you know, take that rounded edge and make it flat again so that your strop can come back and round it off. While the stone is important to be able to flatten that shoulder off, you're not, unless you're trying to shave right off the stone and not strop, then the stone is just setting up the edge so that the strop can finish, if you follow me. Now, which stone is the best? Folks will probably keep pressing me until I answer it. I like that one. Okay? I mean, these stones right here get mighty dang expensive in a hurry. Okay? You know, especially with inflation coming in and all that kind of stuff. Last time I saw these King 1/6 stones were $30 delivered off of Amazon. Okay? If the stone is just setting the edge up for the strop, get an inexpensive stone that's very reliable, and, you know, cuts clean, cuts fast, is easy to maintain, all that kind of stuff. And that's what that stone is. I've got, oh heck, I've got one in each vehicle. I've got probably 2 of them out here in the shop. I got an extra, you know, in case somebody needs one. There's one in the house. There's, heck, I probably got one in the camper. I mean, they're inexpensive enough that you can keep them everywhere. Stones like these Dans, this Dans translucent, the last time I looked at, I mean, I picked this up at a pawn shop for like $10, right? The last time I looked at these, they were $100 or so for, you know, a 2-inch wide by 8-inch long stone, something like that. I think this one, the surgical black with the soft on the back, it was a little bit more reasonable. I don't know, maybe 60 or $80, something like that. And of course, these prices are all, you know, from the last couple of years, which, as you guys know, everything is pretty much doubled over the last 5 years anyway. But I know that, like this Nanawa, this was a really expensive stone. I want to say that was like $120 when I bought the thing. And, you know, I mean, the stones just get really, really expensive in a hurry. So my recommendation on the best stone as a straight razor finishing stone is use the one that you already got. You know, I mean, put more money into your strop than you do into your stone. That strop, if I remember right, I gave like $80 or $90 for it. They might be more, they might be less now, but you use that strop every single time you shave. Okay, and that is the edge, that's creating the edge that you shave on. The stone is just prepping the edge to get finished on the strop. Yeah, I think that's about it. So get a good strop, get a good stropping compound, the stone, use the stone that you already have. If you're shopping for a new stone, you know, I really recommend this King 1/6. Unless you're one of those guys that like really, really gets into stones, okay? Like I said, some of these stones can get just absolutely freaking gorgeous, okay? And those are the stones that it's more of a pride of ownership, I think, than it is what the stone can do for you. Of course, a guy that's really into stones, you know, he'll be able to tell you exactly why that stone might be better than another stone. If it is or if it isn't, you know, that's kind of up to you to decide. But if you're just a guy that's shaving his face like me, nice, quick, you know, King 1/6 works just fine. So I guess if you want to, you can list down in the comments if you've got a particularly favorite stone, or if you think that the you know, the inexpensive stones don't work all that great, or if you think the expensive stones don't work all that great. Yeah, we can chat about that for a little bit. So, again, this is Joe Calton from Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.